Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Monday, February 1st. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 213 days. The game against Michigan, 299 days. Under 300 days, it's almost here. Today is also something of a starting point for the 2021 Ohio State football season. The Senior Bowl happened over the weekend, so now guys like Justin Hilliard, Baron Browning, Tuff Borland, they are all officially former Buckeyes. Today is now the start of the winter workouts for the Ohio State football program. It's the first official team activities for the new early enrollee freshmen. My guest today is Kirk Barton, the former OSU captain, All-American, and assistant coach. Kirk, can you explain why winter workouts are such a big deal for a program like Ohio State?
Man, it's a thing that kids generally dread. Coaches are excited about. You get to evaluate the kids that might be stepping in and playing this year for some of the guys that departed. But it's really a gut check time for guys that are either coming back, that are trying to lock down their spots. Guys like Thayer Munford, the veteran guys, they gotta take a step and stay healthy and improve their game. But for a lot of young guys, man, I mean, now's the time to get going on getting a job, because if you show out, you're in great shape in winter workouts, and you just have that that will to win and that that eye of the tiger or whatever. It helps propel you up the depth chart if you're really showing out during the conditioning stuff.
Now, as we mentioned, the early enrollees are now going to be part of this, but it's like they're sort of going to be a part of this. The way they've done it the last few years is they split those early enrollees out into kind of a separate group. So they're not immediately working with all the upperclassmen. Now, there are physical reasons for that. Some of them, if you've been in a high school strength program, that is not quite the same as working with Coach Mick for the last 3 years. So there's physical reasons, but there's also some cultural reasons why they do that. So can you sort of explain both of those?
Yeah, because these kids are all normally still high school seniors. So these kids that decide to enroll early, I think it's great to get a head start, but not everybody comes from like a really well-run program like Massillon Perry or St. Ignatius or St. Ed's or the Cincinnati really good schools like Elder, where they have great strength programs and they have, kids are tuned up because they've been working. Because there's some kids, man, they haven't done a thing since the last snap of football, almost 3 months ago. So some kids show up in bad shape. Some kids show up in excellent shape. I wouldn't advise to show up in bad shape, but some of these kids just don't, they pick up the Twinkies and pick up the joysticks for Fortnite, and they don't really pick up a dumbbell at all. So you got to see where everybody's at. They'll do some baseline testing to see their flexibility, strength. And plus, you want these kids to assimilate to college because they're on their own now. They're living in a dorm. They got to find out where to eat. They have to go to class every day. They have online classes. They've got tutoring. They're away from home. They get severely, severely homesick. And if you threw them in to the wolves with the Thayer Munfords and the kids that are stone cold leaders and captains that are tough guys and rough, like you want them to kind of just grow into that before you throw them in. And plus, like, you just got to know where they are physically, which is the most important thing and why they do this.
Now, when you played, you were not an early enrollee, so you were not walking into the winter workout straight out of high school. But I mean, either in your career, later in your career, or even when you were a coach, do you remember seeing that like welcome to Ohio State kind of moment, like welcome to the show, kid, glad you're here, you're not a recruit anymore? Did you see that kind of moment happen for kids, either when you were a player or when you were a coach?
Oh yeah, like I mean, I was one of the really smart players because I didn't enroll early, because I was like, I'm not about to go through winter conditioning and then have to redshirt, like not even play anyways. So it's like I showed up August 5th and I made the 2 deep after 3 weeks being there, and I was like, well, looks like I didn't have to do all the extra conditioning and summer running, and because all that stuff sucks. So I got to skip all that. So it was great. But like I had Steve Raring was a year behind me, but it was kind of funny because he showed up winter quarter. So I was only like 1 quarter ahead of him, even though he was a year younger than me. And Steve was always kind of a heavier dude. And man, when he first got to 6 a.m.s, man, I thought he was gonna die because he was so heavy. And like, and you're doing like big time conditioning. You run to death at the end. You're doing agility drills. Like it sucks. And like you always want to stay light and eat right the night before because it sucks. I mean, it's tough, and guys get gutted. Guys that haven't been working out, guys that haven't been running, and the one thing I always told recruits is I'm like, look, I don't care how much you lift, how many curls you do, bench press, make sure you run a lot. Because you can never be in good enough cardio shape for when you show up to Ohio State's conditioning program. Because we got kids, man. Tressel had the hardest conditioning test. Tressel had a harder conditioning test than Urban Meyer and Mickey, which is unbelievable. But we had to run 20 half gassers, and it was literally the worst day of the year. Like you talked about days you don't look forward to. Like the first day of training camp when we had to run 20 half gassers at 6 a.m. and a half gasser was the width of the field and back. You have to run 20 of them on a 30-second break, and you have to make each one in 18 seconds. So it sucks. Like you don't. And half the guys that like failed it, and I failed it a couple times. I made it 3 and failed it 2. The one time I was coming off knee surgery, I probably shouldn't have ran it, but I did, and it was a major mistake. But it sucks, man, because mentally it's just as hard as physically when you're running a distance like that.
No, you have referenced this a little bit indirectly. I want to make sure people understand when this is happening. You call these 6 a.m.s. This is, things may be a little different this year with COVID, and maybe they'll have to split stuff up a little more. Typically, not only are these really difficult workouts, you're getting out of bed real early to get there and go get your butt kicked.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're getting up. It's as miserable of a situation as you can get because it's like you got to get up at like 5 a.m., drive to the facility. It's 22 degrees out. It's snowing, sleeting, terribleness. And you got to get ready to rock, man, because, I mean, that workout is no joke. And they're going to put the screws to you. I mean, all of our 6 a.m. workouts suck. They all suck. I mean, it's like none of them are, oh, we're going to take it easy today and, play dodgeball or something. Like, they all suck. So it's, and the coaches, they want to see who's been working out since the Bama game. I mean, it's hard for these old guys. They just feel like they just left Miami and walked off the field, and now it's already time for 6 a.m.s. You're like, oh my God, where'd my 3 weeks go? But that's reality, man. I mean, college football resets every year, and every other team's getting started, and we're no different. So, I mean, our guys are going to be rolling come tomorrow.
I don't know how many people have heard of mat drills before or really know what mat drills are. Your laugh suggests that you know what mat drills are. Yes. That's one of those things where just every once in a while, like towards the end of the year, late October, early November during a typical year, guys are talking about, hey, the Michigan game's almost here. It seems like just yesterday, we didn't go through all of this. We didn't go through all these mat drills and all this stuff. Like it's stuff they're thinking about 9 months from now.
Yeah.
Let people know what mat drills are. It never, the context, it never seems like it's a lot of fun just from the context.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I never knew what they were because we never called it that with Tress. And we never really did a lot of the stuff with Tress that we did with Urban. But, Bear Bryant kind of started it way back, or he was the guy that kind of made it famous because he used to coach a wrestling class at Bama, and it was only football players. So it was basically a class where they could show up and just get murdered by him every day. And Bobby Bowden did it at Florida State. It's a lot of competitive stuff. Like mat drills, it's because it's like wrestling. It's a lot of one-on-one towel pulling. There's a drill that I described to Tom earlier where, this has been banned by the NCAA since we did it in 2012, where a guy gets on his stomach and has to army crawl 10 yards. And, there's a guy behind him and hit, the one guy has to curl through the line. The other guy has to do anything he wants to keep him from getting through the line. And there's like a set amount of time. And, we had a player like cold cock kid in the back at 6 a.m. I was like, oh my God, we are not in Kansas anymore, man. I mean, and it wasn't like, it wasn't encouraged, but it was just like, oh boy, like we might have to do something about this drill before someone gets killed. But it's vicious, man. We do the towel pulls. We do we don't really do the towel pulls now because now they do the tire pull. It's funny when you ban something, like say, oh, no towels allowed at the thing, then coaches just find tires. Or it's like, they banned, guys being able to carry a football at 6 a.m.s. So now guys carry tennis balls or they throw tennis balls. Like, the quarterbacks and receivers aren't allowed to throw a football. So everybody throws tennis balls now. Coaches are very, they kind of figured out the ways around the print. It's like this is, well, we can't use a football, but we can use a tennis ball. And that's funny, but they're brutal, man. It's just like Full Metal Jacket, man, when the stuff comes on. And Urban, man, it was kind of our edge. I mean, like not many teams go through this stuff, man, because it sucks. It's hard, miserable, and the big thing is it's all competitive. Like they keep score. Like if they switch who you pair off with. So if I'm with Tom Orr for a day and we do like a relay race or like a shuttle, Tom beats me. So it's all right. Winner, Tom Orr. Then I do the bone dummy thing. We have to rip the thing up. Winner, Kirk. And at the end of the day, they tabulate and they call out who won and who lost. So Tom beat Kirk 42-32. Then all the coaches hear it, all the players hear it, and if you get blown out, then they're just like, what? It's just like one of those things where it's not fun in front of Urban when you get blown out. So, but it's fun, man. It helps sharpen that edge.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot of fun. There's a lot of competition involved. Like, what are the main goals over the next few weeks? Like, what are they trying to accomplish as they go through all these workouts in the next few weeks heading into spring ball?
You want to make sure the kids are in shape. You got to break these kids off. I mean, everybody loves the Buckeyes when they run out of the tunnel on Saturday and they see the band and stuff. But like right now is like how the sausage is really made. These 6 a.m. workouts that, most people are just coming out of bed or they're sleeping for another hour, and these guys are getting after it. And it sucks. But, you want to see who wants to compete. You want to see if there's any guys that are still resting on their laurels from last year. Some guys that, I was starter last year, whatever. And you want to see if there's any new guys that can help. Because you got a bunch of new guys in, man. And if there's one thing I know, man, you don't want some young freshman phenom showing you up, beating you in races, beating you in agility drills, beating you in the weight room. So, these old guys, man, I mean, I remember being there. I was like, I'm not letting these little MFers beat me at anything, period. Like, I'm just not. I'm going to fight and claw and scratch. And, because when you're at Ohio State, man, you have to fight for your job every day. Like, I mean, there's always some kid behind you who might be better than you. It's like, that's the beauty of Ohio State is you never want to get Wally pipped, I call it. So, but it's a good time to see these young bucks and see what they got. And
when Kirk says MFers, that's a football term for measly freshmen. That's right. That's what that stands for. Yeah. The winter workouts. There are a couple kind of milestone days during the winter workouts under Mickey Marotti. One is Valentine's Day, and I think they just sit around and eat chocolate that day, if I'm correct. And then it always ends with what he calls the Harley-Davidson workout. And you see the pictures of Mickey on his bike and, all the photos of the individual units. So just sort of explain the Valentine's Day and Harley-Davidson workouts, what those are.
So the same Valentine's Day celebration started at Florida with Urban and Mick because they're trying to figure out a creative way to just break these kids off. And back then they called it the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Now, problem is the kid almost died doing leg presses and he had compartment syndrome. So they had to change it to the St. Valentine's Day celebration for legality reasons. So, but it's a brutal workout where it's a lot of lifts to failure, like a lot of leg press, a lot of, you do 700-pound leg presses to failure. Then you do you got to do a wall sit where we stack sandbags on them. And, then there's tug of war where it's like me versus, you versus me. And then like a coach will jump in and, it's crazy. I actually used to jump in and do tug of war against these kids and kill them. And part of it was because I was really strong, but part of it was because I was fresh. I didn't have to do, go out and run and then come in and leg press and then, do step ups with a weight vest on and, 45-pound plates in each hand. I mean, it sucks. It's another tough workout. And it's always great because Mickey, we have in the weight room, there's these windows and they always put like white paper across all the windows, like these big, long, wide sheets of paper to cover it up so you can't see the group before you. And so you can't see what's going on. You can't see, oh, we're doing that to get killed. Oh, we're doing that to get killed. It's like, so the next group shows up and they have no idea what they're getting into. So it's pretty fun. They're creative. And then Harley, it's kind of the same thing, but you have to wear a black like cutoff shirt. It's got to be like some biker stuff. Guys, I've seen guys wear denim now. Like it's a little looser under Coach Day than it was under Coach Meyer. Coach Meyer, like that first year, I think everybody just wore black because they were scared to wear anything else. But now guys were like, it's a little bit looser. But it was it's another one of those. They just got you. But we push each other, and I mean, like in 12, man, it was insane. I mean, it was nuts. And I think they're probably still pretty wild now, but in 12, it was just like. It was a different level, man, because it was Urban's first year and we were changing the culture, and that required a lot of extra love for the players, so to speak.
This is very clearly Today will be one of the most memorable days of the year, probably for a lot of these guys, and maybe one of the most memorable days of the careers of some of the guys who are going through it for the first time. Where does this rank in terms of the most or least exciting, maybe, or anticipated or beloved days on the Ohio State football calendar for the players? And where does the end, the day after the winter workouts, where does that rank in terms of how excited the players are to see that day come around?
See, the first day, the only day that's worse than the first day of winter workouts is the conditioning test. Conditioning test is usually the worst day. But this is like number 2. It sucks because for like 3 weeks, like back with Tress, it used to always traditionally start around like Valentine's Day. Like right around Valentine's Day, it was like life was over. We had like 3 straight weeks of 5-day-a-week 6 a.m. workouts, and like before that, you're like going out on Thursday nights, you're kicking it, you can go out on Friday, Saturday, like but once those start, man, I'm not drinking. I'm having green juice and spinach for dinner, and because I just I knew going into the 6 a.m.s, man, it's like if I eat like Taco Bell and like 5 Cokes, then it's gonna it's coming out of my pores the next day at 6 a.m. because it was so hard. So it just changes everything. It sucks, but it's a necessary evil. It's part of building the team and building the culture and seeing who really wants to be there and see who can kind of dust off getting waxed in the championship game. Because that's something that these coaches are dying to find out, is who's still kind of got that championship game hangover and depression, and who's raring to go. Because you can't let the Bama game from last year linger. Somehow you got to kill it. It's hard. I've been like, I lived it. Like when we lost to Florida, it sucked. Like the last thing I want to do is start up winter workouts at 6 a.m. when you're still in mourning, but you got to put it past you and kind of move forward, which is why I'm glad that these kids are starting up tomorrow.
But this was a very busy weekend for Ohio State athletics. The men's basketball team picked up a big win over Michigan State yesterday. It was also a very big weekend at BuckeyeScoop.com. We had a ton of great content. You were christening Scoop Sundays, it sounds like. We had an incredible day on Sunday. A couple of great Nevada nuggets, great stuff from Philip Green, great stuff from Tony Gerneman. Let people know why they should become a member of BuckeyeScoop.com.
Honestly, it's the community. Our content is the industry standard now for Ohio State media. We have amazing personalities. Our staff is all top notch, best beat writing duo there is. We have 4 recruiting guys. Nobody else is even close to that. Me and Nevada do a lot of the inside stuff. But really the key is our community. Like we just have such a great community of people, and there's people from all walks of life, and it's I love interacting with them. Like that's the best part for me. It's like I just like learning about people, talking to them, learning why they love Ohio State, why they love the Scoop. And we're not just like pigeonholed in football, man. We talk about everything. We talk about the Browns, Blue Jackets, the Matt Stafford trade, like anything that pops up, man. It's like Matt Stafford trade had like 100 replies. We're doing a mock draft right now that I'm, trying to run as I move into my new house. So it's like, but we constantly are, creating new content that I think people really enjoy. So it's, the brand is awesome. It's fun. It's a great community. It's very inclusive. And I think that, people that joined it, we've had a lot of people say, I've never been a part of a pay site. I've never seen the point of it. And then they joined it like, this is the best thing I've ever done. I love it. My wife hates I'm always on here. And I'm like, well, you're amongst good friends. And, and our wives will make a support group for them, so it's all good, man.
Yeah, you can't go out to a bar nearly as often as you do hang out with your friends there. So you can hang out at BuckeyeScoop.com.
Yeah.
At least you're at home, right? That's not so bad.
Hey, man, we're snowbound right now, man. We got like 5 inches of snow today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not probably going anywhere today. So why not hang out at BuckeyeScoop.com instead? And one other note, Nevada Buck for the first time is on Twitter. There was an old account that I think people were thinking was him. It was not him. This really is him. You can tell because it is at Real Nevada Buck. I think I retweeted his account yesterday. I think probably everyone on staff did. So you can find that on Twitter. He's going to be worth a follow. He has been just cranking out information like constantly. Had two really, really interesting nuggets on the transfer portal and recruiting on Sunday. And it's just kind of been constantly like something new and interesting. And something you would probably be interested in every single day from him. So make sure you check him out on Twitter. Check him out at BuckeyeScoop.com. Also, make sure you check out all of our great podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Spreaker, all of those places. Just search Buckeye Scoop to find all of our great shows. You can subscribe right there. Also, leave us a 5-star rating and review, which will help other folks find those shows as well. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys for listening. Be grateful you're not doing mat drills today. And have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow.